So in budget, basically we have two things. So one is budget, the normal one, and then we have the encumbrance. So what is the difference between budget and encumbrance is that basically budget is an what do you call the planned activity,
Mm-hmm.
but whereas encumbrance is an unplanned. So for example, if I wanted to say, so I could say rent as an budget. So which
Mm-hmm.
means I know that 10,000 is the actual rent for this building. So I
Mm-hmm.
will get the same 10,000 as an expense for the next 1 year as well, at least for the 1 year. So I know
Mm-hmm.
this is an planned expense. So
Mm-hmm.
this will fall under budget. So which means if
Mm-hmm.
I know something, this is budget. And the
Okay.
other part that we have is that unplanned encumbrance. I mean
Mm-hmm.
unplanned expenses. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I could say a manufacturing unit. Let's say I have a manufacturing unit where, as of now, I have an order for an maybe 10,000 quantity. So, I will purchase the materials or the raw materials required for this as per the required item. So, basically, I'll have the analysis and the other things. So, based on that, I'll plan for my material requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So, when this is done, I'll not have a proper planning because I don't know whether this month I'll have the same amount of requirement or I will need additional requirement. Let's say that there is an seasonal sale. So let's take
What was that? Sorry.
seasonal sale.
Seasonal. Okay.
Yeah. So let's take Amazon as an example. So
Mm-hmm.
we have this big billion and the other things coming up, or
Mm-hmm.
the offers, Diwali offer and the other things. So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, if you take Amazon might require maybe on the month of June with a different raw material, and
Mm-hmm.
Amazon might require different raw material for the month of October
Mm-hmm.
due to the festival and the other seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, my requirement is entirely different. So I cannot plan it, even though I have the analysis and forecast. So it
Mm-hmm.
will not be accurate. But whereas
Mm-hmm.
here in the planned activity, if you see, this is accurate, but this is not
Mm-hmm.
accurate. So what we
Okay.
will do is that we will have the encumbrance. So what this
Mm-hmm.
encumbrance will do is that it will have a validation.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, I would say material procurement.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see here, I would say that when I'm purchasing, I would say this is limited to maybe 10 lakh.
Mm-hmm.
So more than 10 lakh, I'm not going to purchase for this month.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, here I have 10,000 for rent.
Mm-hmm.
So here for this month, I would make one payment called rent. So which
Mm-hmm.
means above this amount, I shouldn't allow system to make the payment. So here we
Mm-hmm.
have two things. So whether we wanted to restrict it or we wanted to have as a warning.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two things. Uh, so similarly for encumbrance as well, if we wanted to have this as a restriction or we wanted to have just as a warning. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
restriction will not allow us to enter more than 1 lakh, I mean 10 lakh or the 10,000. But whereas warning will give me as a warning, but still I'll be able to make the transaction. So that is the difference.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I got lost for a second there.
Yeah, like if it is warning, I can make the transaction. System will show only the message that you have crossed the limit. But whereas
Uh-huh.
in case of restriction, system will not allow me to move further itself. It will stop me.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that is the difference between budget and encumbrance.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. We'll move to system.
Yes.
Yeah. So the navigation is define budgetary control.
Hmm. So tell me something. So in GL, so budget is a mandatory thing that needs to be done.
No, this is optional.
This is optional. Okay.
Yeah, because as a company, it is not mandatory that I should have the budget. I mean,
Okay.
that's based on the client, but most of the people, most of the company will have the budget with them.
Okay.
But this is not mandatory. This is optional setup. Even without
Okay.
budget, I can have the system.
Okay. But isn't, I mean, like, but budget is something that they plan at the beginning of the year itself, right? All
Yes,
companies.
yes, correct.
So if that's the case, then shouldn't they be using this budgetary control or whatever you're doing right now?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In application aspect, this is not a mandatory setup to do,
Uh-huh.
or we don't have any dependency, but companies usually will have the budgets.
Yeah. So
So
they
that is
can, or they
yes,
can do it in the system, or they can, I mean,
uh,
avoid doing it in the system. Okay.
yes, yes, that is their this thing requirement. If they are taking license for the budget, so very well they can use this, or maybe if they are using the special or the different application for budget and the other things, so we will just integrate with our application, or maybe they don't want to have it in the system, so that depends. So in
Okay.
this case, budgetary control is just an optional setup for them.
Okay. So do they have other systems also that they use just for budgeting?
Yeah, they might use other system also, so possibilities are there. But
Okay.
mostly I have seen people using budgetary control actually.
Okay.
Mostly manufacturing industry, they will have budgets. Like
Mm-hmm.
service and service-based industry, so one or
Mm-hmm.
two they are not using it.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly people use budgetary control.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first step. So that is manage budgetary control and encumbrance accounting.
Mm-hmm.
So what we are trying to do here is that we are enabling the budgetary control for our ledger. So unless we
Okay.
enable it for our ledger, so we will not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have two options. So whether we wanted to enable it at the ledger level or we wanted to have it for the business unit as well. So which means when we are
Mm-hmm.
entering the journal entry,
Mm-hmm.
so do we want to have the restriction or the warning at when we are entering the journal alone, or we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
have it when we are entering the invoice also.
Okay.
So that is the thing. So in this case, if we see this is not enabled, so which means we are saying both the budget and encumbrance is not enabled.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do, I'll just click the ledger and I'll enable this for budgetary control.
Mm-hmm. Raju, can you take Ace out? Just let him out. I mean, open the door. Give me a second, okay? Just open this door here. Sorry, it's my dog. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So we have just click the ledger. So this is the page that we will have.
Mm-hmm.
Since I have enabled this option, I was seeing the other relevant options. So I'll just enable the budgetary control. So,
Okay.
so for now, we are not enabling the encumbrance accounting since we don't have the procurement module set up.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we are doing the purchase and the other things, so basically it will come from the requisition, purchase order, and the other things. So from there,
Mm-hmm.
we will have the encumbrance. So for
Okay.
now, I'm enabling the budget.
Okay.
So here we have two things. So one is the exceptions, and the other one is to enable at the business unit level. So we
Okay.
will see first the exception. So exception is
W-
something for
Before
uh,
we go there, right, what is that control budget filter? On the top, you have its ledger only, project, and ledger or project, the one below the radio button.
yeah, this one, yeah. Okay, so this is a control level where we wanted to set only for the ledger or we wanted to set for the project module. So project module will be used more on project oriented business like construction and the other things. So
Okay.
where we will have an asset. So
Mm-hmm.
building is an asset for us. So inside
Mm-hmm.
this asset, I might build something and I might construct something for maybe 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So after 6 months, this will become my asset. So I can either sell or maybe give it for lease or rent. So for
Mm-hmm.
this, the billing will occur based on the monthly basis what we are consuming there for each resource. So
Okay.
what we will do is that we will bill for each resource and we will import it to our payable module. And if this is an asset, so which means it will come from the project module to payable, and from payable we will import into fixed asset module as an CIP. CIP is nothing but
Mm.
construction in process. So
Okay.
once we complete our construction and the all the works are done, then we will recognize the asset. So which means we will make it active.
Okay.
So that is
But when you say budget filter, right?
yeah,
Filter exactly what is it? I mean, like in the sense like, is it a specific? What is that filter for?
yeah. So this filter means nothing that we wanted to use this filter only for ledger, which means
Uh-huh.
general ledger module, or we wanted to use it for the project module also. Or
Okay, okay, got it.
yeah, or we wanted to use for either budget or project.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, fine.
Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So we have exceptions. So exceptions is nothing but the some of the category source that journal source that we can use it here to avoid the budgetary
That
control.
is the
So if you see in this
one.
case, the
Mm-hmm.
revaluation, open balances, and these are the journal source that will not have the budgetary controls. So similarly, if we wanted to add any other source, so maybe we can just click here and from the list
Add
we can
this.
add this. So if I
Okay.
don't want to have this control for maybe payroll module, so I can add
Mm-hmm.
this payroll module. So payroll module will
Okay.
not have access to this.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what is this? The one that says budgetary control validation failures. What do we use that for?
this option.
The one. Yeah, yeah, that one.
Yeah, this is for the date range. Like let's say we have given for a particular date. So inside
Mm-hmm.
that date, if we wanted to fail this budget, we can enable this option. So this is kind of
Okay.
another level of validation.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just enable for the business unit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So budget, if you see, so here we have for the requisition and the other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
So here we can see the detailed transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So let me click this one. So maybe I wanted to enable for the invoicing part, but I can control even at the matching or the other things as well. Like match
Mm-hmm.
PO is with purchase order. So which
Mm-hmm.
means I have an PO for this purchase order. So for those things, if I don't want to have the budgetary control, I can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if I don't want to have control on the unmatched invoice, which means I don't have any purchase order. This will be a manual purchase order. If I don't want to have for this option, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
can enable this as a no.
Okay.
So similarly for the payment request. So payment request will be something like our refund, customer refunds.
Okay. So a basic question here.
Yeah.
So let's say you've enabled these now. Okay,
Okay.
budgetary control is enabled. So now, while invoicing, how does this impact?
At this point, with this setup you are
Huh,
saying, or
with this setup, how is it going to impact the invoices? How, I mean, can the user or whoever is doing that, can he physically see what's happening with budgets?
no, he cannot see because he will not have access to this. So this will
So,
be, yeah,
okay, yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
where does this help in the sense like who can see and how is it useful?
Yeah, I mean, we will complete the setup. So maybe after that, we can have this.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm just looking at things and trying to understand where it is useful.
Yeah, because we are at the preliminary phase, so we have
Okay,
other
not a
setup
problem.
also. So where we will try to
Yeah.
give the warning and the restriction as well. So after completing this, we will see at the journal entry. So maybe there from there we
Okay,
can.
okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. So I have enabled it for the business unit as well.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to the journals, if you want to add any special source to avoid this budgetary control, we can enable it here.
Okay. Transaction source.
Yeah.
Oh, like how we did it for the ledger.
Yes, correct. You'll
Okay.
have basically the invoice credit memo and the other thing.
Oracle Fusion projects, extra. Okay.
So this will be in case when we enable the ledger or the project. So where
Mm-hmm.
fusion projects will come in place.
Okay. So basically, it is actually here. It is the entire system itself is giving us the transaction source.
Entire system in the sense we could say
In the sense
modules.
like the module itself,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Like
correct.
payroll and expense and whatever time
Yes,
entry and all that.
yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And for the reservation point where you have approval, so when you say approval there, right, on the
Yeah,
budgetary control,
yeah,
what's the other option? Submission. Okay.
yeah, submission.
So this approval, does it need a workflow or anything?
Yes, we will require workflow for this.
Okay.
So basically, we are just setting up that at what point we wanted to have this budgetary control. So whether we
Hmm.
wanted to have this after submitting, which means submitting for the approval, or after approving this particular request.
Oh, okay, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So this is the initial setup. So we have enabled that.
Hmm.
So this will be kind of an one-time setup basically. So once we enable it, so we will not be able to disable it again.
Hmm.
So only option we can do is that we can take off for the budget.
Okay. Or uncompensatory.
Yeah. So if you see here, we have enabled only the budgetary control. So
Hmm.
that is for both ledger and the business unit.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next setup would be for the calendar.
Okay. Manage accounting calendars.
So here I have selected
Number
budgetary
of
control
periods.
only. So
Okay.
which means I cannot use it for the normal accounting calendar what we saw in the GL setup and the other configuration when we are doing
Okay.
this ledger setup. So this will be used only for the budgetary control.
So when you check that you I mean the some of the fields got whatever vanished,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay. So number of periods is just four,
yes.
which
Uh,
means like 4 months you're opening.
no, which means this is a quarterly budget. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, every 3 months we will have this.
Okay. So the period name automatically came, the
Yes,
PRD. Okay.
yeah. This came automatically. Maybe if we wanted to change it, we can change.
Okay. By default, it's the one. Okay.
Yeah. So we have set up.
Mm-hmm.
So this will say that quarter one, two, three, four, and this will say
Mm-hmm.
the period.
Okay.
So when this particular year is done, we can come here and we can add budget year. So similarly, we will have to give the dates along. So similar process.
Add budget year. Okay. So, so it is the same thing, right? The entire year you can give.
Yes, yes, correct.
But when you give but for this quarters, I mean, like, 3 months anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4 periods covers the entire year, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
S- So, oh, when you add a budget year is like you add another year, like 2021.
21. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. And also a quick question, what is the difference between the save and close?
Yeah, I
You can
mean,
click either, or you have to click save and then you have to click save and close.
in some cases, what will happen is that when we give save and close, even though it is
Mm-hmm.
not saving due to some validation, system will close this page. But if we save,
Oh,
which will make sure that it will make all the validation and the records are saved properly.
okay.
Yeah. So we created the calendar. So we will set the controls. So I'll just give this name as an I mean, budget name. So whatever we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to give, we can give. So the calendar that we created is KK budget calendar. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
attaching it here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see here, so based on the selection, so it will tell us from which period to which period we wanted to have this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll say from first quarter to fourth quarter.
Okay.
So here we have different options. So whether we wanted to have this as a control budget or we wanted to have this as an Hyperion planning or we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to have this as an budget or maybe others. So others is something like apart from this option. So the control
Mm-hmm.
budget is nothing but to have the source budget. So which means this particular form is one budget.
Mm-hmm.
So I will create this as a normal budget, which means I'll select others and I'll create as a budget, and I'll come again to this page. I'll create a new control budget, and I'll attach the budget that I'm creating it here through the control budget, which means we will have the parent and child concept. So under one budget, we will have the another budget.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the difference. And Hyperion planning is like, so basically Oracle has procured another product called Hyperion. So
Mm-hmm.
that is good with the budgeting and the financial reports and the other things. So when we
Mm-hmm.
saw on the initial class, we saw something on the Hyperion space database. So
Mm-hmm.
space database is for the financial report, and Hyperion planning is for the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we are seeing it here. So if we have configured the Hyperion planning and the other things, so basically we have that FCCS and the other things. So we can
Mm-hmm.
link it here.
Okay.
So when we are trying to do this transaction with this particular budget enabled ledger, so
Mm-hmm.
system will validate on the Hyperion part as well. So that is different module by itself. So from there the validation will come into place.
Mm-hmm.
So for now yeah,
So control budget is something that you use for parent-child relationship. Is that what
yes,
is it?
yes, correct.
And why would you have a parent-child relationship in a control budget?
Because I might have maybe let's say I will have five different budgets as well. Maybe I'll
Mm-hmm.
have it region wise. So on this case, I don't want to create separately, or I wanted to see at what do you call the centralized
Okay, okay, okay.
accounting.
So it's basically okay, rolling over to the whatever on the top.
Yeah,
Okay. And no budget.
yeah. No budget. It's like we cannot use this budget basically.
So when it is no budget, then why would you actually create a control budget for
Yeah, that's what logically it is correct, but we can't.
No, I'm just thinking, sorry.
Yeah, I mean
So,
logically that is correct, but we have given the
I
note.
know to confuse people like me. Okay.
Yeah, usually we'll go with others. So others
Okay.
is something like we just create this budget, so we will not have any relation or we will not have any communication with the Hyperion.
Okay.
So I'm just clicking others.
Hmm. What happened? So, values required. Why is it separated into two separate, I don't know, two boxes there for source budget name?
No, this is actually I have
No,
selected as
no, not that one.
yeah.
Uh, the one below where you said KK budget, right?
Yeah,
There's
this is
another one, yeah.
yeah, this is just in description actually.
Oh, description?
Yeah, this is kind of we can say code and the description, budget name and budget description. So if we
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to describe anything, so we can describe.
Okay. Default rate type is corporate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so I have
Okay.
selected the currency, so which means
Mm-hmm.
I will have this budgetary control only for this particular currency.
Okay.
And I have selected this as an corporate. So the reason
Mm-hmm.
I'm selecting corporate is that maybe foreign currency this thing. So where
Mm-hmm.
I'll use this particular rating.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the control level. So
Okay.
absolute is something restriction. System will not allow me to move further. But whereas
Okay.
advisory is something that warning. So system will give only the warning, but whereas I will be able to make the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And track is something just for the reporting aspect of it. So this will not give either warning or it will not stop us to do the complete the transaction. So you'll be able to complete the transaction basically. So it
Mm-hmm.
stays as an reporting thing. So it will track the what do you call the transaction that cross the limit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And none is that we are not using any of these options. That is, system is not restricting, system is not giving warning,
Okay.
or it is also not capturing the amount that has maybe that has cost the actual budgetary amount.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, first I'll just give maybe absolute.
Mm-hmm.
So the tolerance. So tolerance is something that if you wanted to have maybe the tolerance amount. Let's say the budget amount is 1 lakh. So I
Mm-hmm.
have crossed maybe 1 lakh 10,000. So if I
Uh-huh.
give 10% here, so
Mm-hmm.
which means system will allow me to do. So
Up
budget,
to 10%.
yeah, this will tolerate and it will allow me to do above this budget as 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe if I wanted to give as an amount, I can give.
Okay.
And ledger. So we are selecting our ledger.
Mm-hmm. Budget manager. Okay.
So I have enabled this particular user as a
Mm-hmm.
budget manager.
Oh,
So
so did you log in as TrainT?
yeah, yes. The,
Okay.
yeah. So the next option that we have is that whether we wanted to allow budget as an increase adjustment. So whether we wanted to, let's say I have given 10,000 as an budget for this year for the rent.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly
Mm-hmm.
the landlord comes and says that this month it is 12,000. So what I'll do is that
Mm-hmm.
for this year I'll make the adjustments. So if I
Mm-hmm.
disable this option, I'll not be able to adjust it. So there are
Okay.
two options. So one is to increase and the other one is to decrease.
Mm-hmm.
So I have enabled both the options so that I can make the adjustments to the existing budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So the other option is that allow budget to decrease it when the funds are available.
Below funds available. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm
Oh.
just disabling this option for now
Mm-hmm.
and allow override. So override is something that if I want to override at the header level information. So that also
Okay.
I'm disabling this option since I don't want to override the setup. So I'm enabling the budget segment. So I'm giving it for the account.
Okay.
So if we have the parent and child combination, so we can attach the tree structure that we have it here.
That is specific to the account.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. First I'll save this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have supplemental rule here. So
Mm-hmm.
what is supplemental rule is that if we wanted to have some sort of maybe this is our first level of budgetary control. So where we
Mm-hmm.
have it for the all the accounts. So let's say there is a case where we wanted to do it only for the specific accounts of the business unit. So that we can do it here. So if you
Mm-hmm.
see on the earlier setup, we don't have the option of business unit. But this,
Mm-hmm.
if I want to differ only for the specific business unit, so that I can enable it here. So in this case, we have only one business unit, but in real time, if we have different
Mm-hmm.
business unit, let's say out of 50, we use this budgetary control only for maybe the five units. So we
Mm-hmm.
can do the supplemental rule for this.
Okay. So you basically define that here.
Yeah. If you see the other setups are similar to that. So I have
Mm-hmm.
just selected the business unit and we have the control level, whether we want to have it as an absolute advisory or track similarly.
Mm-hmm.
And we are enabling it for the all the accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And
Additional
we have
segment.
additional segments. So this is for only the accounts. So apart from accounts, if we wanted to add for the company department, so those things we can enable it here.
But that is grayed out, right? That
Yeah,
add button.
yeah. I think it will come only after. I mean,
After you add the top. Okay.
no, no. There is a change actually. So since I didn't enable it at the header level, before this, we didn't enable
Uh-huh.
this option. So we
Okay.
saw parent and child, right, in the tree.
Yes.
Yeah, there we didn't enable it, so that's why this is great.
Uh, okay.
Yeah, since the header itself didn't and have this option,
Uh-huh.
so this is kind of an line level information. So this is restricting to use this particular option.
Okay.
So basically, whatever we have it at the header level, so we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to utilize it and we are trying to differ from what we gave at the header level.
Okay.
Yeah. So here it will just give us the basic functions that we can use.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for the journal source category and the other things.
Can you change that all to something else here?
No, we don't have option to change basically.
Okay. So by default, it is all.
Yeah, because the exceptions and everything we have defined on the earlier setup. So
That is what is reflecting here.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there we selected all. So that is the reason we are having it here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just select, I'll just cancel this for now because anyway we are having one business unit. So which will not make any changes to it. So I'm just canceling this part.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have this for the entire ledger instead of having for the specific business unit.
Mm-hmm.
So we have one thing here. So like let's say we have implemented this budget. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, first I will say how to implement this budget. So unless we have this as an prepared for use, so we cannot use this budget or we cannot have the restriction in the system. So what I'll
Uh-huh.
do is that I'll click prepare for use. So the moment I give prepare for use, so system
Mm-hmm.
will trigger and concurrent program or the schedule process. So this
Mm-hmm.
schedule process will make the system make this budget up. So we can see status as an in use. So if you see
Okay.
now, so it is not ready for use.
Not ready for use. Mm-hmm.
So after we define or after we do this prepare for use, so
Mm-hmm.
basically after this consent program is done, so we can see
Mm-hmm.
that in use. So let's say there
Okay.
is a case where we don't want to use this particular budget. The
Mm-hmm.
supplemental role we have defined for maybe, so let's take a case where we have 10 business units. So we
Okay.
have 10 offices in this particular region. So I
Mm-hmm.
have defined only for the 5 business units by mistake. I
Mm-hmm.
left out the other 5. So how do we add this other 5 business unit is that only by closing this particular budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will close this budget and what we will
Mm-hmm.
do is that we will redefine this budget and then we will add the supplemental rule. So that is the only option that we have. So we cannot edit this budget once this is created,
Okay.
especially the supplemental rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no way you can end date this or do anything and then add.
Yeah, yes, correct. If you see, we will not have option to enable or disable. Also, we
Uh-huh.
will not have the end date for this actually.
Okay.
So this is the only option to close and redefine.
Okay.
So if we do this permanently close, which means we cannot reopen or redefine.
Okay. So when you say permanently closed, right? Let's assume we say permanently closed. So it closes the budget for that specific year, or will it, I mean, like you can't use the budgetary control itself
No, this is for the specific year. So if
for a
you see
specific
here,
year.
yeah, if you see here, we have given from date to date.
Okay.
So let's say in this case we have given for the entire year. So maybe
Uh-huh.
here if I'm giving for 3 months, maybe I'm having monthly budget. So I give
Mm-hmm.
3 months, but whereas I have other 9 months as well. So which means I
Mm-hmm.
can create another budget with the same year with a different
Mm-hmm.
period. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
from April to December, I can have different budget.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little complicated, but for now I'm listening to what you're saying. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I'll just say prepare for use.
Uh-huh.
So this has created a schedule process.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see here, the system has
Mm-hmm.
automatically created the queue.
Mm-hmm.
So this is nothing but the space database queues.
Okay. So, so what is the use of the cube in the sense like, is it something like a child process?
No, it's not child process. So basically, cube is some kind of one dimension. It is three-dimension data. So usually, if
Uh,
you see in EBS, so we don't have the concept of cube. So we have only the
mm-hmm.
rows and columns. So whatever
Yes.
data that we are entering, it will be stored under rows and columns. But whereas
Uh-huh.
here in space, it will be stored in
Uh-huh.
a three-dimension cubes. So we
Okay.
could compare with the Excel sheet pivot table. So where we have different
Ah,
dimensions. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Similarly, this is kind of a three-dimension data. So where we can pull it at three different ways.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the difference between our normal database storage and the queue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is all in the back end itself, right? They can see in the back end, but nothing to do with us, like in the form of an Excel. Can we see that?
Excel we cannot see. Uh, we can see in reporting basically.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But just just to look at, we can't say what's happening, right? Unless somebody goes behind the scenes and
Yeah.
says,
Yes.
okay,
Maybe I'll try to show this one, like how the cubes will be there and how the basic reporting part and the financial part.
yeah, yeah.
I'll just so that we'll have more clarity.
Hmm.
So I'll navigate back to the page and we will see the status of the budget. So it should be in use now.
Hmm.
You should be seeing the budget. So, okay, let me assign
It's not
the.
opening.
I mean, I couldn't find the one which we created, so I'll just assign the
Mm-hmm.
roles. So maybe role-based restriction.
Much data. So will we have a list of all these roles specific to a module anywhere defined?
Yeah, we will
Like
have
in
it. Yeah, we will have it in Oracle repository. So
repositories there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, by module we will have this.
So we'll know exactly
Yes,
who gets to do what. Okay.
yes. But in real time, basically, we will customize based on the requirement.
Yeah, that you will go
Yes,
by doing that on the edit and then adding and removing, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
But just general like how sometimes you wouldn't know, right? What
Yeah, yeah.
roles to give.
Yes, yes. We have it in repository.
Okay.
So since I have assigned the role, so let me log out and log in once.
Hmm.
So we have our budget.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can see the status that is in use. So I'll just open the budget. Yeah, we can see that status is in use. So which
Uh-huh.
means we can use this budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have these options like closing the budget. So if we want to change the supplemental rule. So first we will
Okay.
close and then we will redefine this budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this budget, though it is optional, right? Though it's an optional setup.
Yeah.
Let's say if you have a fixed asset module, is
Okay.
it compulsory then for
No.
fixed assets? No,
No.
even then it's optional.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have defined the budget setup. So these are the configurations that we have for budget.
Mhm.
So I'll just navigate here to load the budget values.
Mm.
So we have budgetary control. So in the right column, we will have we manage budget and we can enter the budget or maybe we can review the budgetary entries that we have loaded. So first
Okay.
I'll just enter budget like for few accounts I'll just try to enter the values. Yeah, system will give by default for all the periods. Maybe if you want to choose only for specific period, we can choose.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we have only two things. So one is to enter the account that we wanted to have the budget,
Mhm.
and we will have the periods for which period we wanted to have this budget to be allocated. I'll
Mhm.
say maybe 10,000 for this month and this quarter, and I would say maybe 50,000 for this quarter. So I'll just take
Okay.
an account. So let me take from here. Okay, so I have entered only for the 3 periods. So let me upload this budget.
Mhm.
It is import amount as entered.
Okay. Import amounts as additions. What does that do?
This one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this will basically add, additions in the sense if we have the amount already loaded. So to
Oh,
adding
okay,
it,
okay.
we can have this. So for now, I'm just yeah. So these are the budget amounts that we have loaded. So let me
Mhm.
click the entry name so that we will have for all the periods. So since we loaded only for till third quarter,
Mhm.
so we have only till this one.
Mhm.
It should be 30th of September.
Mhm.
Yeah. So these are the amounts that we have. So this is source amount, which is the initial one, and the amount change is that we didn't make any changes. So we are
Mhm.
seeing the same 3,70,000. And apart from that, we have two other things like if we wanted to see maybe the balance of the budget, so
Mhm.
that we can see it from here if I have access to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you see here, so
Mhm.
this is our budget period. So in this period, total budget is 1 lakh.
Mhm.
So in this 1 lakh, I didn't spend on anything. So which means funds available is same with this one. So
Mhm.
we could say that funds available percentage. So 100
Okay.
percentage is available. So we will try to make a few transactions and we will check this balance.
Okay.
So this is to verify the what do you call the balances. So
Mhm.
apart from this, if we wanted to see maybe the transaction part of it, like what are the transactions that's involved in it. So maybe
Mhm.
there is a discrepancy. So how do we identify it? So we have this one.
So the ones that we're doing, this one and the previous one, are these reports? Do you call them reports?
No, this
No,
is
right?
not report. This is report in the sense it will give us the information, but
Yeah,
this is not exactly a report actually.
a report. Mhm. Are there specific reports available for this?
Yeah, we have budget reports especially for this.
Okay.
Okay, I think we didn't have, yeah, we didn't
Budget
create any
period.
transaction, so we are not doing any.
Uh-huh.
So we'll
Okay.
just create few transactions. So I'll create a journal entry. So I'll just save this JB.
Hmm.
So I'll do check funds. So from the batch, I can check the funds. Yeah. So
Failed.
yeah, funds has failed because we gave this as an absolute. So if you would have given it as an advisory, so this would have passed actually. Okay, I didn't open the budget period. Okay, let me open the period.
Oh,
Yeah. So
insufficient funds. Okay.
yeah, since the budget is absolute, so this is restricting us. So even though we try to post this particular entry, the system will say
Mm-hmm.
that fund check has failed because it has insufficient fund.
Okay. Is that because you have less amount there in the
Yes,
budget for this? Okay.
yes, yes, correct. So I didn't allocate even the 10 lakh, but whereas here I have even 12 lakh.
Yeah.
So I cannot use 12 lakh for this month. So that is why this
And
particular transaction
and
is
tolerance is also not there, so that's why
yes,
it didn't take it.
yes.
Okay.
So I'll just create this as maybe 10,000
Mm-hmm.
and maybe try to put. Yeah, now we can see that this has passed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, passed by budgetary control. So I'll just post this
Okay.
entry.
Mm-hmm. 10,000
Yes.
as the expenditure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So these are the accounts that involved in this, and the we could see that total budget and what we have consumed and the other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is for the restrictive budget that is absolute, and we have the advisory. So nothing, just like it will allow us to enter the journal entry. So that is the only difference between that.
Can you go to the review budgetary control for transaction?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is actually the transaction that if you see this is our transaction. So it is
Mhm.
kind of a hyperlink. It will take
Mhm.
those things.
Okay. So what was it you were saying? Advisory and absolute?
Yeah, absolute is something that I'll not be able to post it. The one which we used. So if you see there, the system was restricting us to post that entry. So the budget
Uh-huh.
is failing. But whereas in advisory system will just give a warning that the budget amount is crossed. But still, I'll be able to post the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the only difference.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all about this one. So we will see this part in business unit when we see the payables. Like in invoice, we will try to apply this one.
Okay.
So in ledger level, so that's it. We have
Okay. So this is at whatever we do in GL, this is it
yes, correct.
in regards to budget. Okay.
Yes, correct. So there are only
Okay.
four parts after configuration. So basically, we will load the balances or the budget amount, and then we have the review budget entries where we can just see what are the available balances for the entered through the spreadsheet. And we have
Okay.
the balances verification. So
Hmm.
from there we can check, and then we have the budgetary control by transaction. So which we saw now. So it is kind of an hyperlink where we can check the transaction. So
Okay.
if at all we have the reconciliation issues, maybe we can check this.
Okay. But anything related to encumbrance and other things will be seen during the specific module that we do.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So for encumbrance, basically we need the procurement module. So
Okay.
I'll just try if I can get some SCM consultant. So if possible, I'll show the encumbrance part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we going to have a class tomorrow morning,
Yeah,
which is what, your evening?
I'll just confirm that whether we will have it morning, like timing alone, I will confirm.
Yeah, yeah. The reason I'm asking is because my Saturdays are pretty booked. So I was just wondering. I just need to squeeze your thing in between. I'll
Yeah.
continuously have programs.
Okay.
From
What is your comfortable time? Like,
I think morning I can do 8:15. Not 8:15. I have my class till 8:15 that I take. So around 8:15, 8:20, I can try to join your thing.
okay.
Probably 8:30. Let's make it 8:30.
Okay.
8:30 is what your time? 7? 7 your time.
Okay.
7 in the evening.
Okay.
Is it late?
No, no, it's not late. We can have it.
Yeah, about an hour we can have because again at 10, again I'll have another one that
Okay.
starts.
Yeah. Sure.
So maybe an hour and a half or hour we can have a
Yeah.
class.
Sure.
And what are we going to do tomorrow? I
Yeah.
mean, that is your
So
evening.
yeah. Tomorrow we will see this revaluation, translation, and this thing. And we have this cross validation and that is nothing, just that is small thing. So apart from
Okay.
that, we will try to see the report. So with that, we'll be closing the GL module.
Okay. Are we going to see the suspense account, whatever suspense and all that also?
Suspense account, if you want to see, we can see. I mean, basically, system, I mean, any companies will not generally prefer for the suspense account because
No,
it
is
would
that
be.
part of GL is what I'm asking. I don't know. I'm asking.
No, actually, I didn't plan for suspense account because we will not use it in real time, basically. So if you want to see the functionality, that definitely we can see. No problem.
Yeah, let's just see that also.
Yeah, no
Whether I
problem.
use it or not, God knows, but at least just
No
for
problem.
having a knowledge of it.
Yeah,
Um,
no problem. We can
yeah.
see that. So the reason I left it is that generally companies will not prefer to have suspense account because if I have
Mhm.
suspense account, even though the entries are wrong or maybe I pass any unbalanced entry, still system
Mhm.
will consume it. So which means at the end of the period or end of the day, if I wanted to see the actual entries, which means
Mhm.
I'll see a big amount staying under the suspense account, but I will not know why this amount is staying in the suspense account. So it will
Okay.
be with different sources. So that is why companies will not prefer. But anyway, I'll show you the suspense account.
Okay. And of course, I mean, anything related to the closing of the period or something, if you can show me something on that also. Uh,
Yeah, closing on the period, it is just a period close this thing. I mean, when we see that, we will see it only in the real time basically. So here we don't have any exceptions, but I will
okay.
show the navigations and what are the process involved and the other things while
Okay.
closing the
Okay.
PL. So
Yeah.
basically, we will have some prerequisites. So I'll be giving those parts.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just also as I told you, right? Just tell me what you do in real time also, just
Yes.
that I know exactly. I mean, this because the reason I'm asking you all of these is because, if I have the information at least, right?
Yeah.
Let's say if I have to take some test or something, then I'll know exactly, even if parts that are not used in real time also,
Yeah.
you never know which test will ask what, right? So for that reason, I'm asking this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
S-
this I'll
and
be, yeah, definitely. So this I'll be telling you as a part of this thing, period close activity. So I'll speak about the exception part and I'll speak about the procedure to close the period.
yeah,
So that
and
is
if
in
you
place.
can, yeah, and if you can think of anything that is done, at your workplace, right? What
Yeah.
you do in GL in real time,
Yeah.
if you can tell me some processes or something, just give me some basics so that even to to fake it, I have to
Yeah.
know as though I did something kind of a thing.
Yes.
So
Yes. Sure. Sure.
to talk about a process or something, so give me
Yeah. Yeah.
some additional information. I know this may not be part of your curriculum, but
Yeah.
if you
Sure.
can,
Sure.
yeah, if you can just give me that general aspect of what's done, how,
Yeah.
like as though I have experience, let's
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
So for that,
Yeah. Sure.
um,
Sure.
okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And do you have notes on these budgets and all that?
Budgets
Or,
I don't have actually. For GL, maybe I'll send it to you today. I mean, on purpose,
yeah,
I'll send it.
yeah. Hey, and also a quick question. So the ones that you're putting it in the, what is this, OneDrive or something,
Yeah.
will I have access to those for a long time, or will they
Yes.
go away?
No, you will have access.
Okay. I mean, do I have to download them or do something, or just leave it as
I
my,
mean, if required, you can download as well. But from my end, I'm not restricting it.
okay.
But for the safer side, you can download and have it.
Okay. Okay. Because I haven't done those. I was just
Yeah.
like, I thought it's there, so I'm just looking at those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Usually, people will set a restriction. So maybe a period of time, like based on the course that participants
Mm-hmm.
are taking. But we didn't set any restriction. But
Okay.
for the safer side, I would suggest to download it.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.